It is true that a town like Bögenhafen may seem rather unimportant in the grand scale of things, but actually it is surprisingly important for river trade, especially in this modern era. Bögenhafen is a good example of what the future of many a prosperous imperial town could be, if it is, of course, as lucky. Bögenhafen has a population of about 10,000 souls, and sits on the last point on the River Bögen, where it is accessible by large river-going vessels. The town acts as a local market centre, with goods from Altdorf, Nuln, and Marienburg coming by river to be traded for local wool, wine, lead, and silver brought down from the mountains. Trade is the primary source of revenue for the town, I believe. As such, mercantile interests dominate the political scheme of things. And the real powers of Bögenhafen are certainly the merchants of the Merchants' Guild, represented primarily by, I believe, 4 major families: the Hagens, the Rugbroders, the Steinhagers, and the Tegans. Although I do believe Councilman Magarius is the actual head of the guild, a member of neither of these families. A shrewd move on his part, possibly done to ease negotiations between 4 said families. A clever man, at least that is what I've heard. Yes, Bögenhafen, truly a beacon for the future of the Empire. This is Red Moon role-playing. The Schaffenfest festival is well underway, with a great many people enjoying themselves a great deal. Still, for the moment, our 3 brave heroes, Siegfrieda, Heinrich, and Kruger, have decided to take a break. They have, after all, done very well for themselves, getting quite a nice bit of coin from winning the melee tournament. It seems luck was on your side, that it just so happened to be the last round of the day, meaning that Heinrich didn't have to take on any other challenges. Due to this, you have a nice bit of coin, and you were making your way to somewhere to rest up, eat, and discuss your next move. It is, after all, still only just the middle of the day. However, an interesting event did occur on your way to the Journey's End Inn, and that was helping out this dwarf fellow who is currently in the stockade. You chased off some children, currently throwing tomatoes at him, and you even paid 2 silver shillings to have this man freed. The guard who was in the area did look at all of you a little confused before remarking, "All right, well, it's on your head then. Make sure he doesn't get in any more trouble." But he then does go to the stockade, open it up, and this dwarf comes free. He immediately begins approaching you, Siegfrieda, and tries to embrace you. What do you do?
Please get away. I don't know what you might have.
Oh, please, my saviour, beloved angel from on high, descended from the heavens herself to bless us. Blessed be Sigma. Sigma, praise his name. Oh, goodness me. Such kindness.
Yeah, absolutely. Praise Sigma, but please don't touch me.
He kind of flails and heads to you, Heinrich, trying to embrace you. What do you do?
I think this is maybe the 3rd dwarf I've seen, including the ones that were in the capital, but I'm taking Siegfrieda's lead on this. If there's one person who knows about communicable diseases, it is my short, malevolent friend, and I'm taking her advice. I'll be a little more polite about it, hands out in front. No, it's quite all right. We don't need to touch, and then fold them together in a quiet prayer blessing pose, and hope that does it.
Finally, the dwarf turns to you, Kruger, and does one last attempt at some form of physical contact.
I could use a hug, so I will embrace the dwarf.
You embrace the dwarf. You inhale his rich aromas, something between a sewage smell, possibly rotting fruit, possibly something in his trousers. You're not quite sure.
Indeed, but I'm used to the smells of the streets. This isn't all that bad, really.
He embraces you hard. Oh, dear friends, know this on the name of the Gurtsian clan, you are honored in our halls, honored. Not that I have been to the halls for some time. No, I have not. But when I return, one day, you will be honored, all three of you. And I am your man, Gottfried Gunnison. I am your man. And on that, he falls over into the mud.
Oh, I try to help him. I don't think you should be sleeping there. I think you just end up in the stockade again. Do you have somewhere to stay? Did you get yourself a room when you came here?
Oh no! You see, my home. I couldn't pay the bills. You see, on account of the well. First of all, you see, the Engineers Guild. My invention, incredible. He begins to sort of mumble words at you.
You invented something for the Engineers Guild?
Yeah, it's fascinating, but no, copy infringement, and then and very cross. And then my wife, she was, you've shamed the clan, and then the children, they went off. It's been 5, 10, 20 years.
Oh. You've been in this state for 20 years.
Yes. Shall we celebrate our new friendship with a drink? Yes.
I would suggest not. Frankly, you are a testament to dwarven constitution. Most bipedal creatures, having drank more than their weight over the course of 20 years, would be dead by now. You are practically fortified, pickled. It's, you're a medical marvel, sir.
Yes, well, no, I started drinking, I don't only drink on the festival and the end of the week and sometimes when I'm sad, but this is the most glorious day in many years.
Yes, but let's assume that the three of us may have to get on at some point. If we leave you behind drinking, you may be seized by guards again. So let's drink something a little cleaner on the body.
Oh.
Just for a time.
For a time. I see, for a time. Yes. Well, again, I got to Gunnison and your man. I am your man, madam. If you need anything, you only have to call. I will do as you say. The blood oath of my forefathers. And he falls over again.
I know this may be a redundant statement. Is he drunk?
Very.
So, Siegfried is now doing a mental calculation. How long was he in these stocks? And he is still drunk.
Yes, you can tell from his breath he still literally stinks of alcohol.
How much must he have been drinking, and how slow his metabolism must be? Again, quite remarkable. What they say about dwarves and their ability to hold alcohol is true, although it would appear their ability to resist alcohol's effects is not. I do have some potions and poisons that could remove this intoxicated state from him, although it may leave him with a horrible headache.
Well, what do? He seems quite happy to amble with you. He's not going anywhere at this moment in time.
My worry is he's going to get arrested again for being drunk and disorderly on the streets of Bögenhafen, which I know a lot of people are right now for the Schaffenfest, but we don't want to get caught up in some kind of overzealous guards' persecution of the drunks. Excuse me, sir. Just as we're heading to an inn, would you like a clearer head for a moment? I have some tinctures that could possibly help.
A drink? Yes, don't mind if I do. To new friends, yes. He just reaches forward with a dirty hand to drink whatever you give him.
I don't like to administer a potion unless someone agrees to it, even if they don't necessarily know the nature of it. So, I'm going to make a roll then.
I think heal is acceptable.
Oh. Yeah, I'm not spending my fate just yet. I'm afraid he gets a 75 against my 53.
In this case, as soon as you hand him the bottle, he takes a sniff and goes, Oh, no, not. I hate cider. No. And he just throws your potion to the wall.
The creation of these these medicines, not cider, the creations of these medicines, it costs a certain amount of coin and time and learning.
Oh no! I'm so sorry. He begins to weep openly and loudly and try and rub his eyes on any form of clothing he can reach.
No, don't do that. Your eyes will get infected with... Oh, no.
Why don't we just take you somewhere where you can sleep this off, huh? I think you should get off the street, huh?
Oh, off the street? Oh, the tents are nice and cool. Maybe I could go to a tent. It's Schaufenfest. It's a Schaufenfest, wonderful day. Everyone's happy.
Yes, and it's continuing. The Schaufenfest is continuing. You don't have to do all the celebrating on today. You can do it more later. But I think some rest would be good now. You get off the street, you get your energy back, and tomorrow is another day.
Would you like to roll a charm roll? Give yourself a +10.
That is 46 under 56.
He looks you firmly in the eyes, this poor, grubby, dirty little dwarf, and he just comes over, grabs your hand, and says, Yes, my dear friend Johnson, yes, you are right, always right. I will go and rest, my dear friends, and remember, I am your man. Today, you have shown such kindness. By Sigma's name, I vow, I am your man.
And your name's Godfrey?
No, Godfrey Gunnarsson. Yes, of the Gunnarsons.
Godfrey Gunnarsson.
Gunnarsson, yes.
Oh, it was very nice to meet you, Godfrey. Now go rest, and we'll see you again in the future.
He goes and stumbles off, heading towards one of the tents. You're not entirely sure he's allowed to be in there, but you do notice him just sort of duck under, and, well, he's now no longer your problem.
Do we hear a scream as he climbs into someone else's tent, or does it all seem calm?
No, in fact, Siegfried, as you look, it's probably where a bunch of mules are being kept.
That's fine, yeah. It could probably do him the world of good.
Yeah, I think he needs to sleep it off. That was... he was very drunk.
I think a lot of the people in this Schaffenfest are slightly inebriated. Therefore, it probably behooves us to keep clear heads while all of this is going on. It gives us an advantage over the rank and file attendees, although I know we would all like a drink. Let's not drink too much.
Yeah, agreed. We don't know when, those folks, when they'll find us again, so...
Yes, I'd almost put them entirely from my mind. Thank you for the reminder.
What do the three of you do? You were on your way to the Journey's End Inn to rest for a moment to get some food. Is that still the plan?
I think so.
Yes.
It's fine by me.
Heading into the town, for the moment you leave the Schaffenfest, although you can still hear it. Again, the Journey's End Inn is not far. You were directed there because it is, of course, the closest main inn to the festival itself. It seems to be a very nice-looking establishment. 2, maybe even 3 floors. A lovely big sign on the front, Journey's End Inn. The sign is a crescent moon with a candle in the center. Entering, you find this is quite a respectable place. Possibly for merchants, merchant servants, those sort of folks. This is not a run-of-the-mill tavern. It's not a nobility tavern, but it's definitely very nice. Beautiful red carpets, murals on the walls depicting various knights of the Empire fighting various beasts, and plenty of tables for food and drink to be had. And rooms for boarding.
Well, that's good to know. Be nice to have some privacy for once.
Yeah. That's right. Not a lot of that on the boat, huh?
No. Well, let's order some food then and start planning our great deception.
Yeah, I do think we need to do that. There's going to be a lot of moving parts to that.
Yeah.
And not for nothing, the food on the boat has no doubt been terrible.
Indeed. Well, you sit yourselves down. If you want to order a nice bit of food and drink for everyone, that's probably going to cost you about a silver each. So 3 silver total. If you want to inquire about rooms, you'll find a really good private room. That's about 10 silvers.
I would like to think that Heinrich is still elated with the outcome of the duel, and having been able to engage in his art is still awash in the various tactics and techniques and procedures that go along with the dueling lifestyle. So if left to his own devices, he will order for this trio the classic dueling meal, the right amount of chicken. You have to keep that part of your body up, enough greens to pass out the negative chemicals, just a slight amount of alcohol to lubricate the whole system, a very formalized meal, the kind that he had to eat day after day after day after day, but instead of hating has come to love. So I hope the two of you love rotisserie chicken and greens.
Well, you certainly are able to order all those things, although the innkeeper, a quite handsome lady with blonde hair tied up in a very neat bun, does inform you that such a specialized meal is going to cost an extra silver.
Well, I hear you, GM, but there's 2 things I want to remind you of. 1, I am a winning duelist, and 2, I am attractive. So let's see what we can do there.
Well, in that case, you're going to roll a haggle roll. No charming here.
No, that is a miss by a lot.
The innkeeper, again a rather handsome lady, sort of just leans over and smiles and says, "Ah, yes, the winner of the Commoner's Melee. Well, good for you. I have a business to run. You're going to pay the money, or you can go somewhere else. There are some finer inns in town on the northern end that if you wish to order such things, you certainly can. You could even go to the Golden Trout if you can afford it."
With no sense of irony, I will accept that I have been defeated in haggling, because that is not where my strong suit is. And because I am not used to dealing with women generally, not a lot of those in the dueling school, I will transition immediately from paying my bill to asking when she gets off work.
Roll a charm check.
Now this is more in my wheelhouse. 23 under 30?
The woman raises an eyebrow and says, "I'll be working all the way till the evening. I am the owner of this establishment, but you're more than welcome to come back and pay for more meals. Maybe I'll even let you have some lodgings for a discount." She's a charming young man, after all.
I depart with first a wink to her, and then second a wink to camera, and then returning to the table, just beaming still. If you thought that Heinrich looked smug after winning the melee, you should see him now.
So the 3 of you are well fed and enjoying your meal. What do you talk about? What do you plan? After all, at this point, that is one thing that Kruger will be thinking of. You haven't even inquired yet as to where you're going. You have an address, but you don't know where that address is, and judging by the festival and local opening hours, you've probably only got another 4 or 5 hours before your standard law office would probably close up.
Well, we're not going to be eating for that long. Well, the first thing I want to do is express my delight. I have honestly... when you mentioned a duelist's meal, I scarcely imagined we would be delivered rotisserie chickens with what appear to be rapiers stuck in either end. This is a... It's interesting, the way it's been presented, but it does make me think of duels.
Well, that's the thing. You can't just train for dueling in the ring a few hours a day. You have to live the experience. You have to constantly remind yourself of the way of the blade, and I am going to just launch into this until someone stops me.
I'll listen. I was actually impressed. I'm not... as much as I'm cynical about many things, I was impressed by your performance in the dueling ring.
Yes, as was I.
You have to understand it's all about tempo. I'm clapping them on the shoulders and gesturing wildly. You'd think I was telling some kind of crazy war story if you were looking on from a distance. Yeah, tempo, knowing when to strike. I mean, come on, Kruger, you know. And again, big clap on the back. There's a time when you have to... And then as a gesture of camaraderie, I'm trying to explain it in terms I think they would understand, but I think also doing poorly. So it's about knowing right when the noble looks away so you can, and then a clumsy gesture of someone cutting a purse. and then looking over to Siegfrieda, or, sometimes you nick a vein and you just have to pinching motion.
Oh, I know that very well.
Yeah, I knew you'd get it. And then just into the chicken.
Well, and do the winners of duels always get to claim a lover from the populace, or is this just your technique?
Yeah, it's a perk. It's 2 perky perks. I'm leaning kind of past Siegfrieda, looking back at the bar.
Yes, I saw that you were taken with them. Well, yes, do enjoy your perk later. I'm certainly not going to stand in your way. Just, again, let's not get distracted from why we're here too much. We can have a good time, but let's not lose ourselves.
Indeed, there's nothing preventing us from having a good time while we attend to business, but, are we going to attempt to go to this law office today? Is everyone on board with that, or would you rather wait?
So this is to register yourself essentially as I lower my voice, as the deceased individual.
Indeed, as Caster Liebering. That is who I am, so I'm here to collect my, what I'm owed, or what I own already,
Well, I know we've committed to this, but you were, and at this point, also lowering my voice, you were recognized by some people from pretty far away. Are we sure that maybe the registration man here isn't going to be in on it? And that we wouldn't just be walking into a trap, or...
It's possible, but think of the rewards. Think of the amount of money, the amount of crowns that's in this. It's going to change our lives.
Well, that's what brought us here, but we have to accept that if we're going to take on that burden of wealth and power, we will also be inheriting the assassins and miscreants that sought Caster Liebering's death. We can, I think, safely assume the people who have been trying to kill us since we got on the road, or canal, as it were trying to kill him. As much as I admire your skills, Kruger, I doubt you've earned the entire enmity of one thieves' guild or assassin's guild or whoever these purple types seem to be.
Yeah, not yet, no. But my worry is that, if we just tried to run, if I tried to run, they would actually track me down because they think I am Caster Liebering, so I'm in this whether I want it or not. The question is, will I try to secure resources to protect myself and to eventually, be able to maybe pay off these assassins so they, lay off tracking me, or,
Well, my suggestion is this. Kruger. I've been thinking this over, and you know me, I like to weigh up the alternatives. I don't like to commit to things. But the way I see it is this. If we go to this law office, and even if we introduce someone who knows the other Caster Liebering, we explain that you incurred a head injury of some kind, or ingested some toxin that resulted in you losing parts of your memory, and that's why I'm there. I'm here to help treat you. Heinrich here is a bodyguard recently recruited. Mercenary, if you like, and he is paid up to stay with you for the next few months. This explains why you may not know everything there is to know about the person who you are impersonating. Now, once we have obtained a stash of this wealth, and I suggest we shouldn't get greedy, we then move on some medical pilgrimage, and she says this, raising her fingers, in order to find the cure to what's missing from your memory. And then we disappear. We disappear with our gold, with everything it is that we need, because, let's be clear, you are not going to be able, with the best will in the world, to deceive an entire noble house, and whoever else might know this Caster Liebering, for the rest of your life. At some point, someone will catch you out. So we just need to get in, grab, and then flee. The alternative, as I say, I like to offer... I like alternatives. I like weighing up options. isn't that we fully commit to this permanently, in my view. The alternative is Heinrich and I spend a little time before we go to these legal offices finding out what we can about Castelibrum, the actual man, and find out more about his personality, more about his history, who he was, what he was doing, so that we can better prepare you before you march into the office and say, here's my seal and signet ring, and so forth. But I'm beyond the point of fleeing into the night. We've come this far.
Indeed. We certainly should act on this and try to get ours. And I think what you're saying makes a lot of sense. We should definitely... I'm not going to be able to take over the manor and live the rest of my life as Castelibrum. I don't think that's very realistic. But if we can get the initial money, well, that's going to take us quite a long way. So yeah, why don't we do what you suggest? Maybe yourself and Heinrich, you find out what you can about Castelibrum, what kind of person he is and what's going on with him. Let us know what we can expect. And then after that, if we have enough, I could actually try to pretend to be him, or if not, then we go with your story of me having lost part of my memory. It's convincing enough, and, well, you are a physician after all.
Heinrich has been idly holding his fork, nodding along, but at this point I will add, I mean, not for nothing. The assassins are already trying to kill us. I would rather have assassins chasing me and 30,000 crowns.
Exactly my thinking.
Then it's settled. Once we have refilled our constitution on this glorious feast, we shall proceed.
Indeed. We get rooms here, yeah? And perhaps I remain behind them while you do some initial scouting and see what you find out about Castor, and then after that we go to the law offices before they close for the day.
Well, I don't think you should be idle. As much as it's the secure route, again, two options. In one hand, I say, hide away and pretend that that you're not even here. But on the other, I think there's more research you can perform, as well as some deceptions. You could make sure your face is known in parts of the town where we are not. In other words, go to a tavern, cause a scene, and know your escape route. Do something that makes people think, oh, Castor's back, so that when we arrive out of the middle of nowhere, it doesn't come as a huge shock. But, as I say, alternatively, you can take the very safe route and treat your room at the inn as a sanctum that no one else is allowed to enter.
I can go out and make myself seen in parts of the town where we're not going to be. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Let's see what that leads to.
It also serves the purpose of if there are assassins, they will be looking in the wrong part of the town for us.
Indeed.
As long as you're only there briefly, you do something, cause a stir, and then get out.
One thing would occur to you at this point, Kruger, which might affect your investigation just a little. Did anything in that letter actually say that Herr Lieberung lived in Bögenhafen? You don't remember that. In fact, it said something about the baronet being from Oopsreich, which is very far away from here.
Indeed, the law offices are here, right? But that's it, really. Still, though, I mean, if people see me here, if there are people pursuing us, presumably they might have some idea that we might be headed here. There's not a lot of places that the Weisbruck Canal goes to, right? So I'll make myself seen then and try to divert attention elsewhere while we prepare to visit the law offices later. So perhaps the Schaffenfest?
Just remember, Kruger, it's all about tempo.
Tempo, yes.
Having heard this now on 8 separate occasions in the same conversation, my head falls into my hands.
Before the three of you get up and separate, there is one other thing that occurs to you, Siegfrieda, although perhaps it's only a distraction. Just as you're about to leave, you catch on the air a familiar smell. A very heavy lavender perfume.
I will have a quick glance around the inn.
You look around the inn, following your nose. It seems to be coming from... Yes, over there in one of the private rooms on the side. You can see a door opening, and there is a woman you met many, many years ago. Same perfume, different noble dress, of course, same red hair, and how strange. She seems to be shaking hands with a very well-dressed man with a big, thick grey beard and a very fancy hat. They are currently both holding things. He seems to be holding a big satchel. And yes, they're exchanging pleasantries, and then she's leaving the tavern.
I am even more pale than usual. I wasn't expecting to encounter someone from my past so quickly. Admittedly, the last time I met her, it wasn't here. But that's even more troubling. I'm sure she's not here because I am. It's a small world, but still.
Is Siegfrieda doing a good job hiding this reaction?
I'll make a coolness roll to see how well I'm hiding it, if I may.
You may make it at a -10. This is a surprise for Siegfrieda.
Okay, I roll a 42 under 45, so it is it's a marginal success.
Meaning, yes, you are just about able to cover it. I mean, perhaps, Heinrich, you do notice her looking in that direction, but you don't see anything unusual about that.
I'm still heady from the duel and also plans to come. I'm not concerned.
Indeed. What do you do, Siegfrieda? Anything?
Once again, as is my way, I weigh things up in both hands. Do I stay hidden? Is staying hidden the best possible course? Because then if someone confronts me about staying hidden, I will look suspicious. Do I get the awkward encounter out of the way now and make excuses to avoid any kind of suspicion later, but also to find out what she's doing here, and whether anyone knows of what I did back home before this exodus came upon me? Excuse me, gentlemen. I will be back momentarily.
Pitch Siegfrieda a nod.
Me too.
Very well then, Siegfrieda. You start approaching this area. You do notice the other gentleman has already begun to leave. He's wearing a very nice coat. And is that a big necklace around his neck with a big official-looking seal? He looks very, very important, whoever that man is.
Could I make a Law Reichland roll to see, to see whether I recognise the necklace, the medallion?
Certainly. Give yourself a +10.
I didn't need it. I have an 11 out of 51 or 61.
Wait a minute, you have been looking into Bögenhafen. Remember, you were trying to work out a few things about it, especially, for example, who rules Bögenhafen? The council. Isn't that a seal of the council? This might be a council member.
Interesting. Not directly useful, but maybe in the future I try and memorize what he looks like.
Yes, big, thick, dark beard, very nice fancy hat with a white feather in it, and again, dressed in these very official-looking clothes. As you look at him for a little longer, he almost for a moment looks in your direction, and then seems quite eager just to leave, and quickly does so. But, again, you weren't heading in his direction, you were heading to the woman. What do you do?
I clear my throat. Excuse me?
Yes, can I help you?
I'm terribly sorry to bother you. I'm not a beggar, don't worry. Despite how I'm dressed. I feel we've met before. You stopped by the apothecary and surgery that I was once an apprentice in.
Oh, I don't really remember. Terribly sorry, my dear girl. I'm very busy. I have places to be.
It's just I recognise the odour, the scent that you were wearing, and so it just came back to me. You know, the olfactory senses are the ones that are the strongest when it comes to memory, and you have quite a distinctive scent to you, if that's not a terribly awkward thing to say.
She smirks a little and leans forward, saying, "Oh, I don't know, my dear. Some noble ladies might take that as highly offensive. But again, maybe I did visit a shop of yours. I don't really remember. If you're not selling me something, my dear, I am a very busy person, and I don't have time to talk to peasants. Which you say you aren't, but you look it, dear."
Well, it's been a long road.
"Oh, I wouldn't know. I always travel in carriage or boat."
Well, I mean, if you don't recognise me, then I suppose we should end this conversation. I certainly don't want to take more of your time. My apologies for interrupting your day.
She squints a little before making to leave, then turns and remarks, "Maybe I do remember someone from my past, someone from a shop. It's not a very important memory to me. Weren't you? Oh, wait. You were the poor little peasant girl being beaten by that grubby physician. Did you change your fate, my dear?"
Well, I'm no longer there. Though I'm still waiting for fortune to smile on me, I will admit.
"Oh. Well, don't worry, my dear. Fortune will definitely smile on you soon if you're willing to embrace change. We live in a glorious era. Great things are coming. At least I think so."
Out of interest, did you ever return to that small little habitat on the canal?
"No. Now, if you'll excuse me, as I said, I am very busy. Pleasure to meet you again, young lady. Enjoy the Schaffenfest." And with that woman leaves the tavern quite abruptly.
Sorry about that, boys.
Huh, what was that all about?
Someone I recognised from before this journey started. She only half remembered me. I just wanted to make sure that we weren't walking into any trouble. I certainly don't want to be called out for being something I'm not once we have fully immersed ourselves in this ruse that we have planned.
Good thinking.
Heinrich is looking between Siegfrieda and the woman and then back to Siegfrieda. A confused look on his face that is punctuated by, "Huh. I didn't think you were the type."
I am completely oblivious to that. But what I will point out, just as I finish my wine, is the man she was speaking to seemed to be one of the Bögenhafen council members. The man with the sort of spade-like grey beard and the medallions around his neck. I don't know that will help us at all, but it seems that she has friends in high places, whoever she is.
When you say trouble, do you mean the ordinary kind of trouble that people get into, or do you mean the, and Heinrich will tug at his ear, kind of trouble?
I'm sorry, I'm not sure I follow.
You know, and then again lowering my voice, "Hey, I recognize you." Tug at the ear. Growing slightly more exasperated, turning to Kruger, mocking like I have a cloak on, holding a crossbow. "Hey, aren't you cast a Lieberung?" And then tugging my ear.
Oh, not that kind of trouble. Well, I don't think she's associated with anything like that. I mean, if she was, I would have been getting us out of this tavern rather than going up to her for a pleasant conversation.
Well, you say that, but I served drinks to a whole bunch of people trying to kill us, so...
And so the time has come to make some decisions. Heinrich and Siegfrieda, how do you conduct this investigation? What do you do?
I would pose to Siegfrieda that if we're going with the bodyguard story, I could pretend to have arrived in town a few days early and maybe sniff around. I'm making arrangements for maybe my Lord Lieberung before he arrives and test the waters out that way. See if I can pry information out of people by getting them to give information they don't know I don't know.
And where do you go to do that? That's the important question.
Well, that would be in the capacity of the law offices or other noble circles, which I think I'm familiar enough with to like find the right part of town, but not familiar enough with to knock on the right door. But I would want to, of course, speak with Siegfried first before I just stepped off into the aether to cause God knows what kinds of mischief.
Certainly. Well, again, it wouldn't be too difficult to gossip around and find the address and then go there, but the question is, what do you think, Siegfried, of that plan?
My plan is, well, I have no desire to get in the way of Heinrich's plan. I think if he's tackling that, I'm going to go and pursue this council member. I intend to, well, find out where he's staying and approach him as a messenger, just to say that Castelliberung is on his way to town. My idea is really to gauge the opinion of a member of, I guess, the council, the government here. What I want to know is what people think of him at, I guess, establishment level.
Highly interesting things to do. Very well then, I guess we will roll with Siegfried first. So you want to find a councilman. Well, you don't need to roll for this. The best place to find a councilman is to go to the town hall.
I will leave the tavern by the same route as this man with the beard. I know it was some time ago that he left, but I'm hoping there's a relatively straight street. If not, I will head to the council hall.
Well, unfortunately, you, as you leave, realize wherever that man's gone, he went quite quickly. So you're not able to just follow him, but talking to the local citizens, you are, of course, directed to the Drachenplatz, which is where that town hall is. Again, it's the administrative hub of the town, you are informed. There are several important places around here. Several very nice-looking restaurants. Big buildings. You even see what looks like the symbols of the Mourners Guild is here as well. That would be the guild that deal with the dead. Still, here is the town hall, a very impressive building. Stone pillars flank it from the front, and it even has a very unusual contraption, very modern. It's called a clock tower, made by dwarves, you think. Fascinating. There's a big giant bell underneath said clock as well, clearly used for announcements or being rung on special days. This is the big building in front of you. Very impressive. What do you do?
I stand outside for a while admiring the clock. When was that built? Was it within my lifetime or before?
Probably within your lifetime, yes. Again, they are a modern invention, but a modern invention of the last 50 to 100 years. Dwarves are very, very skilled when it comes to this thing called clockwork.
I fold my arms and look up at it. I have next to no knowledge of mechanization outside of the way a humanoid's body functions, and can only wonder at how the hands of such a device might be used to emulate a heartbeat, or a heart be used to turn a clock. Maybe one could time one's life and death by how fast or slow a heart is beating, and interesting information could be pulled if everyone was made to wear a clock like that kept... And so my mind is currently going through those processes, but mostly it's disappointment that while I hold very little resentment for the fact that I was shipped out of Bögenhafen as a child, it remains with me as a memory, of course, and the fact that I was in some provincial village without a pot to piss in, while in my hometown they were installing great inventions like this that I could have witnessed, it's saddening. But eventually I shake off that feeling and I will go up the steps between the pillars and through those mighty doors.
You do so. You see a few people running back and forth. Everyone here is very nicely dressed. This is a place of law. These are clerks, lawkeepers, writers, educated people. There is a big long desk situated at the front of several big wooden doors, and there is a very bored-looking individual. They have a set of spectacles on. They have a very long nose. They are dressed in the attire you'd expect of a head or senior clerk, You are at least familiar with that sort of thing, and they are currently looking over some papers.
I will spit in my hand and run it through my hair so I don't look entirely fresh off the boat, although I realise I haven't had a wash since I got off the canal. But still, that's the way of a messenger, and that's the kind of person I'm trying to look like right now. I'll walk up to one of the clerks.
Do you walk up to that big head clerk, or just randomly grab a passing-by clerk?
I'll go to the head clerk.
He looks over at you, briefly lowering his spectacles. Yes, madam, how can I assist you?
Sorry to bother you, sir. Dreadfully sorry. Messenger from Middenheim, with a message for the council. Directly to be delivered, sir.
The man looks at you and extends a hand. Very well, present the message.
I'm afraid this message is verbal, sir. It isn't a written message. To be delivered vocally, sir, as in with my mouth, through my lips, using the operation of my tongue, sir, to reach the ears only of members of the council, sir, not a petty clerk.
What the devil are you, madam?
The messenger, sir, from Middenheim with very important news.
So important that they had to rush you here without any form of proof of identity or legislation or even a seal.
Oh, I have proof of identity, sir, and a seal.
Very well then, yes, present it.
Unfortunately, sir, it's left in my saddlebags because I had to come here quite at speed, and as you know, the thoroughfare is very busy right now with everyone enjoying the Schaffenfest. I couldn't navigate my horse all the way to the hall, sir, so really it was a matter of life or death, and I chose my life rather than my horse's death.
I see. Well, in that case, you can go and collect your thing before I have the guards throw you out for wasting my time, young lady.
Sir, I insist this is vitally important for the council's ears only. I'm not the most persuasive of people, in fact quite forceful and condescending. I think I'm going to have to try my best at intimidate. It's challenging as it is, I put no advances into it. But my insistence, this is for the council, not some jumped up dick behind a counter. I have rolled a 98 against my 27.
Maybe time for a fortune?
Yeah, hell, why not? Let's give it another try. I mean, at the very least, it can make my failure slightly better. Ooh, okay, 27 out of 27. If I hit the mark, does that mean it's a success or a failure?
That is a success in this case. The man looks you up and down and lets out a long sigh of irritation. When you're done, you are going to inform your superiors how strictly unprofessional this is. This is a travesty as far as I'm concerned.
I will, sir. I will tell them.
Did they even give you who you're supposed to speak to? The council. So what, you're supposed to summon all...
No, the council in attendance, sir, and be sure that I will indeed inform the Messengers Guild that the chief dick at the law offices, yourself, sir, was very unhappy with the way that we deliver our messages, especially our urgent ones. I will be sure to describe you perfectly, although I think that by using the word prick repeatedly, they will get the idea of who I'm talking about.
The man adjusts his spectacles a little and remarks quietly, "Oh yes, I'm sure your idle threats are going to beat imperial law. That's exactly how the system works. You ignore laws by being insulting, and you don't get any fines or any repercussions. But I'm very glad you're telling me I don't need to summon all 15 members of the council right now for a random street urchin who's walked off the street. My God." He goes and summons a boy. Just gives him a bit of a bat on the head, and the boy runs off. "I have sent him to see if Councilman Magrius is in attendance still. Benevolent as he is, he might see you. And rest assured, if the councilman informs me that you are actually a street rat trying to enter his offices to steal a coin or two, I'm very much going to enjoy having the guards come in and have you flogged."
Sir, if you have the time to spend, you are more than welcome to accompany me to ensure that I steal nothing but your time.
I'm not... Oh my goodness, how irritating. The boy comes back. It's your lucky day. He's more than happy to take an urgent message, the Guildmaster, Magirius.
Magirius, sir. That's gratifying to know. And one last thing, sir. That rattle in your throat as you speak, you should probably have a physician check it out. It sounds to me like it's more than a temporary clog.
The man glares daggers at you before clicking his fingers. You do notice a few people who are standing by the doors, dressed in watch attire, are now just watching you. But a few moments pass, and a man comes out to meet you.
You Councilman Magirius? Or is it Magrius? I'm sorry, I'm new.
The man before you is initially dressed very similar to the man you saw before. He has a very nice fancy coat on, although his is a lot more colourful. He also has a very big hat, although he doesn't have white feathers, he has 3 black feathers. He has a stylish forked beard, and once again seems to be a man in his older years, perhaps around the age of 50 or 60. He comes forward with a smile and nods at you. "Oh, my dear girl, wonderful, very well then, an urgent message, wonderful. Well, what is it? It's so strange they didn't send you with any of the official paperwork. Hello, good Guildmaster Magirius, yes, hello there, my dear girl."
I drop to my knee. Guildmaster Magirius, it is my honour to serve. However, I have been informed that this message must be delivered in private rather than the central hall.
"Ah, well, I see. Well, in that case, come to my office." You see the clerk say, "Are you sure that's wise, my Guildmaster?" "Well, of course, look at the poor thing. It's a darling little urchin. You don't think I'm in danger, do you? Poor, when was the last time you were fed? Look at you. My goodness, those clothes. Oh, dear."
Sir, I can attest I have no weapons about my person and my hands are far too small to strangle a stoat, let alone a fully grown man such as yourself, sir. And as I'm turning around slowly so that he can assess that I have no blades on me, when I face the clerk behind the desk, I mouth, "Fuck off," and then turn back around to smile at the Guildmaster.
The clerk is silent, once again, plotting your murder perhaps behind those eyes, but for now you are led through some doors, big wooden doors, although there are some guards still watching you. This man leads you through a couple of offices before leading you to the left to a very nice office. "Well, now, my dear, this is my office, but I'll close the door. Wonderful, what's the urgent message?"
I am delivering a message on behalf of Casta Liberung.
"Oh, okay, wonderful. What does this gentleman have to say?"
Well, firstly, I need to ascertain that you do know Casta Liberung.
"No, never heard of him."
Very well. At which point Siegfrieda freezes. As that's really all she needed to find out. She was hoping that she would pick up that someone really dislikes him, or that he has a bad reputation, or that he's much loved by the guild, or something like that. But no knowledge whatsoever makes her jaw hang open for a few seconds and her eyes glaze over as the cogs whir, and like a finely crafted piece of dwarven machinery, she comes up with something. Yes. He said that his life may be in danger, and that he is seeking sanctuary in Bögenhafen. He is an aristocrat of Oopsreich, and is looking for safe harbour in Bögenhafen.
Oh my goodness. Well, yes, of course, although you really should be talking to the magistrate, although granted, Magistrate Richter is down at the Scharfenfest today, or maybe even the watch captain, Mr. Gotrin. I confess
that is exactly why I come here, sir. I have tried those, and the magistrate was too deep in his cups to take any action, and the chief of the watch was too busy chasing children away from the stocks where they were pelting dwarfs with rotten fruit.
Deep in his cups? How unusual. Magistrate Richard never drinks.
Well, it is quite a Schaffenfest, sir.
Oh, I see. Well, my dear, calm down. Have a seat. First of all, let's talk about you. You poor thing. You know, I know a few places where someone suffering a little lack of coin can get... I don't know if you know, but I'm quite I know a few people in town who do charity work.
Siegfried is on the verge of tears. This kind of social pressure. This is Kruger territory. Maybe Heinrich at a push. I'm sorry, Guildmaster. I've come a very long way.
There, my dear, I perfectly understand. Look, here's what we're going to do. Do you know the Journey's End Inn? It's a fine place. You tell them that Guildmaster Magarius has sent you over to get a nice meal. Look, I'll give you even this. Here you go. He reaches to his pocket and hands you a little symbol. On the symbol is a very intricate ram's head with a sort of circle around it. It's quite unusual looking, and he says, They'll know what this means. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. They'll give you a fine meal, and you've done a very good job. Yes, I'll notify those who need to know. Mr. What was his name again? Lieberang. He's coming to seek refuge. Well, don't worry. When he comes, don't worry. We'll sort that all out. That's not for you to worry about, my dear. You've done a very good job. Well done, you, coming all this way. Oh, and don't worry about the lack of the paperwork. I'll have a word with the clerk. That's not your fault. Don't worry. You won't get in any trouble for not forgetting all the official notification of who you are.
Oh, I don't know about that, but thank you. Thank you. Your kindness is beyond measure when compared to the other experiences I've had on the way here.
Certainly, my dear. Is there anything else I can do for you? Again, it's the Schaffenfest, and even if it wasn't, I always try and help the people of this town. Granted, I am only one of the council members, but I mean, I am the head of the Merchants Guild. You got quite lucky today. Some of the others aren't in attendance today. I do believe, oh dear, well, I think Guildmaster Johannes Tegan was about, but no, I think he had some business to attend to today.
There is one thing I could ask, but I do not put it upon you as an obligation, Guildmaster. I was shown a rare bit of kindness by the crew of the Berry Bell. I would never ask for their taxes or customs fees to be waived, of course, that it is not my place at all. But they were very kind to a young woman in need, very protective as well. If there is any kind of treatment that they can receive as thanks for their charity, it was beyond my scope to pay such a thing, but maybe you can do them a good turn.
You don't say, my dear. You know, hand on heart, I will seek out this barge. If they are doing charitable work in my town, then yes, they shall be rewarded. Yes.
Well, they're also selling a lot of pork. But I think the charitable work bears mention.
Of course, my dear. And with that, you are given a little piece of paper with a weird symbol on it and directed out of the town hall by this man himself. Again, that clerk gives you daggers for eyes, but you are now out of that situation with apparently a coupon for food.
Well, I found out something valuable. Castelieberung at least isn't known by the Merchants Guild. But Siegfrieda, her hands are shaking by the time she gets outside. This deception went on far too long. There was the initial thrill of, I'm pulling the wool over someone's eyes, everything is going to plan, followed by the crashing descent of her stomach as she realised, oh gods, I'm in the thick of a con, and I'm not equipped for this kind of thing. So now she is on the verge of a panic attack, takes some deep breaths, inhales that beautiful sewage smell from the streets of Bögenhafen, and staggers off in the direction of the Journey's End.
And so, Siegfrieda, you head off back to the Journey's End, having learned a few things, although perhaps also having gotten slightly over your head. But luckily for you, it seems that at least this guildmaster was a very friendly sort.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we play the legendary campaign The Enemy Within for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th Edition, published by Cubicle 7. In this first part of the series, we are tackling Book 1, Enemy in Shadows. Joining us as players in this series are none other than Aaron Hammonds from Queen's Court Games and our dear friend Matthew Dawkins. The music was made by Flowers for Body Snatchers, Wordclock, Metatron Omega, Ager Sonus, Apocryphus, Halgrath, and Northumbria, featuring a number of collaborations with other artists, and was used with permission from their label, Cryo Chamber. Check out their website at cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for some moody dark ambient. We would like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon, Martin Heuschober, Nastasia Raulerson, Simon Cooper, David, Julia, Camilla, Bob Lange, Julián, Cameron, Xabier, and Antxon for their generous support. And we would of course also like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, the show would not be possible. If you want to support our work, please check us out on Patreon. You can get access to bonus campaigns for Cult Divinity Lost and Coriolis there, as well as get early and raw access to all of our recordings. You can also hear your name read on the show as the champion of the Red Moon, as well as play Cult with us. Most importantly, that support is what keeps the show going, so do check us out there. Thank you again for listening, and remember, Skaven are definitely not real.